Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Anyone who's watching this or listening to this at a later time. This is Mindful Mondays for June 16, 2025. And my name is Keith Lisenbee. I am a licensed mental health professional, and I am the CEO and owner of Atlas Behavioral Health Consulting. And here we are on Mindful Mondays. But today, unfortunately, but fortunately, depending on how one wants to look at it, this will be my last time on Mindful Mondays. Back in 1992, I think it was 1992, probably earlier than that, probably 1990, the rock band U2 went on stage, and when they said that they were going to put a pause in their music making, they told the crowd, they said they were going to stop making music in order to dream it up again. Well, the Daily Huddle is doing just that. So this is the last week of shows. So today's our last Mindful Monday. And the folks who I thank dearly, dearly for the opportunity, even though it's been a very short time here, I thank them all for having me on and giving me this platform. But the Daily Huddle, as many of you may know already, if you don't, you know now, this is them. They're going to step back and they're going to dream it all up again. So I look forward to the reincarnation of the Daily Huddle in some form or another in the future. But meanwhile, we have today, we have this morning, and we have my last show, and I intend on making it a bang today. Today, we are going to explore the concept of Atlas. Why Atlas? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Look, Atlas is the name of my company, by the way. So I'm just going to be full transparency and say, yes, this is what it is. But Atlas Behavioral Health Consulting is here for a reason. And we named the company this way for a reason. So we're going to talk about Atlas. We're going to talk about both the mythological figure of Atlas and as a modern metaphor. Whether you're a leader, caregiver, or a professional, or just someone trying to hold it together, is that you? Is that you? You probably felt like Atlas, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. We'll look at the origin of Atlas in Greek mythology. We'll look at the modern interpretation in Ayn Rand's controversial novel, Atlas Shrugged. And then finally, most importantly, we will show you how to use the intentional empathy framework to know when to carry and when to shrug with strength, clarity, and empathy. This episode is for anyone who's ready to stop burning out and start choosing with intention. Let's move forward, shall we? Atlas was a titan, a strong, powerful titan in Greek mythology. After losing a war against the Olympians, Zeus condemned him to stand at the edge of the world and hold up the sky for eternity. Many people imagine Atlas holding the earth, but in early myths, he held the heavens, the sky, everything, the universe themselves. Either way, he became a symbol of endurance, burden, and isolation. Today, many of us identify with that image. We carry our families, our work teams, emotional labor, unpaid roles, societal expectations. We carry them no matter how hard the burden. Like Atlas, we feel that if we stop, let me ask you, as you're listening and watching this now, if you feel like you stopped holding the entire world that you have on your back, if you stop, do you feel like it's all going to fall apart? Do you feel like it's just going to all crumble if you step away, if you take a break? If that's you, then this is the show and topic for you today. Let's say that what if carrying it all is not strength, but imbalance? Atlas was also the father of the Hesperides, the nymphs of the evening and golden light. Now, in some versions of the myth, his burden is not just punishment, but a symbol of separation from family, freedom, and rest. He becomes a metaphor for the noble but isolated burden bearer, critical to the world's survival, but unable to enjoy it himself. This resonates today. Many people take absolute pride and obtain rewards and awards in how much they carry. But over time, that identity becomes a prison. Like Atlas, they're stuck holding up what no longer serves them because they think they must. Some versions of the myth say Atlas stood at the western edge of the earth, embodying not just burden, but isolation. He was a cosmic scaffolding that no one acknowledged, but depended on entirely. His burden was necessary, but unshared. Many of us today shoulder invisible loads the same way: emotional caretaking, people pleasing, unseen labor, expectations that we never agreed to, but have inherited. In modern day interpretation, in Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand uses Atlas as a symbol for the people who hold up the world. These are the creators, the producers, the inventors, the entrepreneurs, people like you, people like all of us. We are all Atlas in some way. She poses the question, what if Atlas shrugged? In other words, what if those doing the most stopped and they stopped sacrificing for those who demanded everything from us? Her philosophy was rooted in self-responsibility and personal sovereignty. Her Atlas doesn't collapse, he walks away. He chooses integrity over obligation, clarity over guilt. Now, whether you agree or not with Rand's worldview or not, the metaphor is extremely powerful in true form to this day. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to let go what is not yours to carry. Let me repeat that. Sometimes the most courageous thing that we can do, you can do, is to let go of what is not yours to carry. Through the lens of intentional empathy framework, shrugging is not detachment, it is discernment. Rand's Atlas chooses to stop enabling us unsustainable systems. However, in intentional empathy terms, this is about healthy boundaries and emotional integrity. It's the ability to step back from roles or obligations that erode your body budget, deplete your dopamine, deplete your oxytocin, deplete your serotonin, deplete your endorphins, all the systems. And they also violate your values while still engaging with others with clarity, with empathy, and with presence. So the idea is to stop doing the things that drain us, share the load, ask for help, but doing it in a way that seeks out clarity, empathy, and presence. Now, Ayn Rand's message focused on individualism and rejection of collective sacrifice. The intentional empathy framework is not that. It shows that true strength does not come from walking away. It comes from redefining your engagement. In i.e., we don't disappear, we recalibrate. We don't disappear, we recalibrate. We say this matters, but not at the cost of my mental or emotional health. Shrugging here is an act of boundary setting, not burnout or avoidance, but chosen alignment with what we truly value. So the big question here is, what does it mean to shrug today? To shrug in today's world means to step out of patterns of over responsibility. It's not selfishness. Let me repeat, it's not selfishness. It's sustainability. It means saying, I matter too. And to do that wisely, you need tools. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's where the framework comes in. Intentional empathy helps you stay grounded and connected, even while setting boundaries. It teaches you to recognize your own emotional limits, clarify your role, and stay present with others without absorbing their burdens. It's empathy with a backbone. It is not the abandonment of duty, but an awakening to your limits. Shrugging means stepping off the invisible treadmill of always being the one who says yes. Is that you? The one that always says yes, no matter what? The idea here is shrugging means stepping off the treadmill of always saying yes. It's the decision to no longer conflate worth with over functioning. Through the lens of intentional empathy, this kind of clarity is an act of self-respect, and it is a gift. And it is a gift for your future self and, in actuality, for everyone around you. Here's how we do it. Many, many steps. Here's how each core principle works to help you shrug without guilt or collapse. Let's first talk about presence. When you're overwhelmed, come back to your body. Nothing is important as a good body scan. Notice your posture, your breath. Presence means grounding yourself before responding. It's that slowing yourself down. It slows down reactivity. It helps you hear your inner signals. Ask yourself, is this task mine? Is this conversation helping me? Or is it draining me? Second, awareness. Use emotional self-checks. So we talked about body self-checks. Now it's emotional self-checks. Remember, the body is the thing that receives the signals from our brain telling us what the prediction is of what's going to happen next, what we're going to feel. It's the brain's prediction. We have to be aware of that through the body scan. And then we have to be then aware of what that emotion is that we're labeling that sensation to be. That's the emotional check-in. Ask yourself, what am I feeling emotionally? And for what reasons? Who does this belong to? Practice reframing. I'm feeling tension right now, one could say. I might be holding on to more than is mine to carry. Or we can label someone else's emotional state without taking it on ourselves. That's also awareness. Say a statement like this. Sounds like you're carrying a lot right now. Awareness keeps you from merging with someone else's chaos. 3, let's talk about clarity. Get specific about what your role actually is. What do you really want? Ask yourself. Be really clear about it. Be very honest. What do you really want? And also, more importantly, maybe, depending, is what do you not want? What is your responsibility and what is not? Clarity is a flashlight in the confusion. Ask others pivot questions like, are you opposed to hearing what I need right now? Or, quote, would it be a ludicrous idea if I offered a limit here, a boundary here? These questions and many other pivot questions like it, they protect the relationship while asserting your voice. 4th, pacing. Don't rush to fix or explain or apologize. No need. Give space for silence. Use the power of the pause. After a hard, difficult conversation, it's okay to say, hey, I need a little time to reflect. I need a little time to process this. Doing this and slowing down gives your brain time to regulate. 5 to 7 seconds of silence can do the trick, but sometimes maybe more. Pacing also talks about the idea of breaking up your day with micro boundaries or even micro breaks. For example, 15-minute resets. Take a walk outside, change your environment, change the predictions in your brain. Tech-free meals to build connection. And also, and I imagine this might scare you when I say this, leaving a task unfinished on purpose. Yeah, that's right. You can do that. You can finish a task unfinished on purpose. That's you taking control. Most importantly, I think, and the key, I think, to all of this, last but not least, boundaries. Yeah, got to have them. This is the core of shrugging with dignity. Set very clear limits without disconnecting. Say, I care and I cannot carry this all alone. Or, this conversation's important, but I need to come back to it when I'm more grounded. Boundaries are not just walls, they are actually doors that close gently, not slam. It is a misconception that we think about when we set boundaries that we're just setting up a wall like 20 million feet tall up in the air and no one can get through. No, they can be doors and they can be closed gently and they can be reopened if necessary. These boundaries protect your emotional bandwidth so you can actually be present when it matters. Let's dig into some more micro tools here. I mentioned labeling earlier. It's worth mentioning again. It's a very key aspect of communication in order to also shrug, but also have empathy at the same time. For example, labeling, offer a reflection of someone else's emotional state using a neutral language. Remember, we stay away from I statements. That makes it about you, not about them. Examples. Sounds like this has been really frustrating. Seems like you're handling a lot alone. Looks like you're feeling stuck right now. It looks like you're feeling frantic. Labeling helps the other person feel seen and allows you to name the dynamic without owning it. It's empathy versus sympathy. It is being on the outside of the quicksand, throwing a life rope to someone in the quicksand, not jumping into the quicksand and hoping both you will get out alive. You're holding the rope on the outside with empathy. Mirroring, another strategy. Repeat the last 1 to 3 words of a sentence that is emotionally charged in a gentle, curious tone. This invites him to elaborate. Overwhelmed again? Falls on you? Too much? Mirroring signals that you're listening and helps others slow down and reflect. Meanwhile, that also gives you time to take a step back, rethink, refeel, repredict. Another one that we talked about earlier was purposeful silence. After a difficult statement or question, and interesting enough, really important, when you have a really strong label to someone's emotional state, don't rush in to fill the space. That ruins the moment. Silence allows emotional processing. Try this. After saying labels like, this isn't something I can continue doing alone. Or a pivot question. Would it be a bad idea to step back and reassess? These are questions that protect boundaries, but also protect the relationship simultaneously. You are capable, all of you, all of us are capable of doing that simultaneously. Putting in a boundary, but protecting the relationship at the same time. It can be done. When we use purposeful silence, let's count in our head 5 to 7, maybe 10 in your head. That silence gives weight to your words and allows others to respond authentically. Discovery questions. Remember, the discovery questions As in a previous episode, ask what and how. These uncover needs and motivations without confrontation. Avoid why questions. Those why questions tendency to make people feel defensive and you don't get the full honest answer. It's the full honest answer and transparency that's going to help you shrug. So why questions are going to build walls. They're going to keep your world up. Examples of this are what's feeling unmanageable right now? How do you see this going if nothing changes? What happens if we don't decide today? What would support look like for you instead? These open the door to solutions without taking on responsibility for everything yourself. Together, these tools help you create more space, clarity, and balance in every conversation. Just a quick example before we move on to our challenge for this week. Let's say you are the go-to person in your family or at work. You get a call. Can you take care of this right now? And let's say you got 4,000 other things on the to-do list today. And I know you all have 4,000 things on the to-do list. I've looked at mine recently. Take a pause, breathe 5 to 7, maybe 10 seconds, deep breaths, more out than in. Then use a pivot question. Would you be against the idea of finding another way this could be done? Or maybe you take it on a friend's emotional spiral for weeks. Raise a hand if you've done that recently. Yeah, I have. Today you say, hey, I love you. And I think this might be too much for just one person to hold. How can we explore more support options for you? This doesn't abandon them. You don't explode, you shrug with empathy. Okay, here's your weekly challenge. We got to wrap this sucker up. Man, I got people raising their hands saying, like, okay. So we got to wrap this sucker up. Here's your challenge this week. Notice when you are atlasing. Yes, atlasing. Ask, is this weight mine? If not, use one of the intentional empathy strategies to release it that we've talked about here. A boundary statement, a moment of silence, a question that invites shared responsibility in a differential way, like what we talked about, how and what, and a purposeful silent pause before reacting. At the end of each day, write down one thing you let go of, mentally or emotionally or otherwise. You will be amazed on how light you start to feel. Build in a reflection moment at the end of your day. Ask, what am I holding that feels invisible but drains me? What did I say yes to that cost me peace? Remember, shrugging is not failure. Don't kid yourselves. Don't buy into the myth. Shrugging is not failure. It's a form of emotional alignment that lets us carry what we choose, not what we're conditioned to. I'm going to pause here and I'm going to answer any questions we have of the audience that's waiting.
Keith, I've heard the word over functioning over and over. Uh, could you give us a concrete example of what it looks like in real life to be over functioning?
To overfunction.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What it feels like, I mean, we all, when we're overfunctioning, what is happening is we realize in our minds we already have that to-do list that's already 4,000 pages long already. And then when we get 4,001, our brain kicks in and it starts sending signals of just more and more emotional weight, more and more heaviness, more and more fatigue, more and more anxiety kind of feelings, heart racing a little bit faster. Our energy is sapping or it's draining. We're buckling, like, and it's inside our bodies. Our bodies are telling us with in each individual signals that we have is in the moment. But when we overfunction, guess what we're doing? We are labeling those signals as something else entirely. And then we're making meaning of those labels or concepts that we're, let's say we label that tightness and so forth. We label that as, oh, we start saying to ourselves, oh, we got to get this done. We got to get this done, or someone's going to be mad at me. And despite the fact that we're already drained and we're only getting signals for us to stop and to slow down, we change the script within ourselves, within our thinking. We change the script. We reframe it into, I got to get it done. I got to get it done, or else I got to get it done. It's due tomorrow. It's due this in 10 minutes. I got to do this in 10 minutes. And we do the thing that is being asked of us, even though it pushes us to the limit and we already know it, but we're ignoring it. We're changing the script on ourselves. And then we do it anyways, and do it anyways, and do it anyways repeatedly. And the more we struggle, the more we buckle under the weight of those things in our world that's pulling us, that's on top of us, the harder it is to carry. And we feel it in our body and we ignore it and keep going. That's over functioning.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith.
Okay. If there are no questions, I will move on. In closing, for the last Mindful Monday of this run, again, the Daily Huddle folks are going to dream it all up again. And I will look forward to it. But we still have, as always, we still have the Daily Huddle rules, right? These are principles that help us to lead in our lives, in our homes, and our work with presence and compassion, intention, and empathy. Let's start from the top. Number one, love, always. Two, laugh out loud. Three, stress less. Shrugging is not selfishness. Remember, it is self-sustainability. Stress less. Four, eat well, eat more not plat. There's no such thing as plat. Is there? Really? I don't. Okay. Eat more plant-based foods. Give. Sleep at least 7 hours. Number seven, move. Movement, exercise. And finally, last but not least, check your assumptions. Remember, you are not meant to carry it all alone. If you're going to the baggage claim and you're pulling bags off the carousel at that baggage claim, what are you doing? You're checking the label. You're checking the name on that label. So what happens if you take a bag, you look at the label, and it's not your name? What do? You leave it behind. What do you do with the bag that does have your name on it? You pick it up. It's yours. Don't pick up other people's baggage at the airport. Figuratively, and of course, literally. Shrug with strength, shrug with clarity, shrug with empathy. Remember, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is to let go. Thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you down the road.